Many drivers are under the impression that if the sign says that this is a maximum speed limit, that you can drive at that speed under all conditions. And it's just the opposite. That's the fastest, or that's the maximum speed that you can travel under ideal driving conditions. So when you have adverse weather, tell yourself, if a hazard were suddenly to appear in the roadway around this next curve or just ahead of this vehicle that's in front of me, or if that vehicle in front of me were to suddenly stop, would I be able to safely slow down and stop without hitting that hazard?
Rain gets no respect. It's sort of like the Rodney Dangerfield of the weather conditions, you know. If it's snowing and icy out, we say, hey, it's snowing, it's icy, I better be careful. So we have a visual cue that this could be dangerous for us. But when it's raining, it's just raining. And drivers don't appreciate the fact that their envelope of traction, the control that they have, is going to be greatly diminished because of that rain.
When it's raining, not only can you not see, now the road is slippery. And people are driving like it's a beautiful, sunny, hot day. It's not. You've got to take so many things into consideration. You've got to keep that distance. You've got to slow down. And you can't make sudden moves with the car because you're going to spin out of control.
If you take a look at any intersection, it's where you're going to have a lot of oil deposits on the road. And when it starts to rain, the water is heavier than the oil, so the oil is going to float up to the top. And a driver now coming into that same intersection, when it just begins to rain, trying to stop as they may be accustomed to, at the last moment slamming the brakes on, now hits this little layer of oil-water mixture, and they're going to slide and possibly crash into the car in front because they don't have the good habit of stopping far enough back. So they're victimized by their bad habit.
If you're driving in adverse conditions, whether it's snow or rain, and you're approaching a curve, you want to start braking before you get to the curve and try to negotiate the curve without using your brakes as much as possible or using them very lightly. So you want to brake in a straight line as much as possible.
And as weather conditions change, it's raining all day, the temperature has dropped down to 30 degrees. Now we have some freezing water. We have some loose water on top of freezing water, and a person's going to go into that curve. It's like playing Russian roulette if you don't reduce your speed.
When the roads are wet, icy, or snowy, speed is your enemy. Reducing your speed, giving you more time to react to hazards, and that is the secret to safe driving. Avoid skids. If you get into a skid, either a broadside or a locked wheel skid, that's an enemy because you've lost control of your car.
If you do find yourself in a skid, best thing you can do is get off of the brakes. Even though you might be thinking to yourself, I won't have enough space to stop, if you keep skidding, you definitely won't have enough space to stop. It'll take you a much further distance to bring your vehicle to a stop if it's sliding than if your wheels are actually turning.
The major thing that you have to do is concentrate on your steering, because that's what's going to give you the best chance to get out of the situation. So we always concentrate on trying to get the front of the car to go where we wanted it to go in the first place. Steer the front of the car where you wanted it to go before it started to skid. And if you're going into a curve or up over a hill crest, you don't know what's on the other side. So there's two things you have to do, and it has to take place automatically. Reduce your speed and give yourself the curiosity to ask what's on the other side, rather than assume it's going to be okay. And if we're asking ourselves the right question, we're going to see the information a lot sooner.
When something occurs in front of you, you want to have some other option available besides slamming on the brakes. So once a person identifies a potential hazard, there's basically four options they have to avoid a collision. One would be the brakes. Another one would be steering either to the left or to the right. And then a fourth option would be to speed up. So they need to start thinking about, well, what can I do besides slamming on the brakes? A lot of times steering out of the way, steering up on the shoulder of the road, maybe hitting a paddle marker or a guardrail rather than rear-ending another car. Now, those are options that are available if we would think about them ahead of time.